The Meatball Protocol, Act 2. Meatballs and Mayhem. Chapter 1. The Cannoli Incident. You ever blow up a pastry shop with a defective smoke grenade, half a bottle of Sambuca, and a suspiciously short fuse? No? Then congratulations. You're already smarter than me and Vinny the Sneeze Calamari, and that ain't exactly a high bar. We were just supposed to scare the guy. That's all. You know, classic mob muscle. Kick in the back door, wave a piece around, maybe smash a biscotti case or two. Remind the baker that Don Rigatoni don't like late payments. But no, Vinny had to improvise. Tony, he says, holding up this janky olive drab canister like it's the holy grail of intimidation tools. Check it. Smoke grenade. Makes an entrance, you know? I squint at it. Vinny, that ain't smoke. That's labeled in Cyrillic. And I'm pretty sure it says mild explosive. Do not shake near flammable pastries. He shrugs. Close enough. You know I failed Russian twice. Let me back up. I'm Tony Toes Bellagio, retired-ish enforcer of the Bellagio crime family. They call me Toes because I once broke a guy's foot with my foot. Don't ask. Point is, I used to be somebody in this town. Now I'm a semi-employed has-been with a cholesterol problem and a bullet lodged in my shoulder from 1998. Vinny's been my partner in crime since the days when people still used payphones and respected mozzarella. Now, here we are. Two washed-up meatball merchants sent to shake down an old man who makes cannoli so good it'll make you forget your ex-wife's name. And we're about to accidentally turn his bakery into a fireball with frosting. We sneak through the back alley of Dolce Vita pastries. I check my 38. Old, greasy, probably jams if you breathe on it too hard. Vinny's carrying what I thought was just his nasal spray and that cursed Russian grenade. We ease open the back door. Bell above the counter dings like a boxing round. Hello? A nervous voice calls. We're closed. Boom! Vinny tosses the grenade. Now, in his defense, he thought it was gonna spew out some moody Eastern European fog. Instead, it launched itself into the cream-filled core of the shop, hit a tray of powdered sugar cannoli, and exploded like the 4th of July inside a pastry blender. There was frosting on the ceiling. Ricotta rained like holy manna from above. I swear on Mama Bellagio's gravy-stained apron, I saw a piece of phyllo dough flutter out the front window like a sad, crispy dove. And the baker? Poor guy looked like a powdered ghost clutching a broken eclair. You maniacs! He screamed, slipping on a meat tart. This is sacred ground. I looked over at Vinny, whose eyebrows were now smoking and smelled faintly of vanilla. You threw a bomb into a pastry shop, Vinny. He blinked. Technically, it was a small tactical mistake. I groaned. You just blew up Don Rigatoni's favorite cannoli joint. Vinny paused, then coughed like he was swallowing regret and powdered sugar. You think he noticed? Cut to 20 minutes later, we're sitting in Don Rigatoni's office, which smells like cedar, cigars, and silent rage. The Don, 75 and still sharper than a zester, is staring at us over his gold-rimmed glasses like we just clubbed his nana with a garlic knot. You two grease-stained meatballs leveled Dolce Vita? He asks quietly. It was an accident, I said. More like a surprise renovation. Vinny piped in. We added open-air seating. The Don didn't laugh. Do you know how long I've been getting cannoli from that place? He says, rising slowly. That baker catered my first wedding, my second, my son's bar mitzvah. You think I'm joking? I am not in the mood for slapstick terrorism. We both nodded solemnly. Vinny sneezed. Twice. The Don paced. I should have you two stuffed in ravioli wrappers and mailed to Atlantic City. But instead, he turned, pointing a sausage-like finger. I'm giving you one last shot, and it ain't gonna be cannoli. He slid a folder across the desk. Grease marks, red string, and a sticky note that said, don't eat. The Meatball Protocol, he said. Vinny leaned over. Is that a recipe? The Don narrowed his eyes. That, you idioti, is the most dangerous document in the criminal culinary underworld. It was written in 1947 by Giuseppe the Whisk Manzetti and has been missing for decades. Rumor is anyone who completes the recipe unlocks a vault containing money, blackmail files, and possibly a limoncello fountain. I frowned. Why us? Because you already blew up the bakery, he growled. You might as well finish the job. And that's how two out-of-shape goons with a love for pasta and a talent for mayhem found themselves pulled back in for one last job. Vinny tapped the folder, eyes wide. This is real? Oh, it's real, the Don said. And it'll get you killed faster than a raw meatball in a shark tank. I exhaled, already regretting everything. Can we at least stop for snacks first? Vinny asked. I blew all my calories in the explosion. The Don glared. We ran. Chapter 2. A Message in Marinara. There are few things in this life that'll stop me dead in my tracks. 1. A meatball sub with extra provolone. 2. A gun pointed at my spleen. 3. And a guy bleeding out over a napkin. mumbling something about the sauce. Guess which one happened first thing Tuesday morning? We were at Sal's Pizza and Protection, a hole-in-the-wall joint in Flatbush with a bulletproof crust and a marinara recipe older than Vinny's cholesterol medication. We weren't there for business, just breakfast. Don Rigatoni's folder, the one labeled "Don't Eat," was still burning a hole in my glove compartment like it knew how many dumb decisions we were about to make. Vinny had just ordered the breakfast lasagna, don't ask, and I was halfway through convincing the waitress to let me pay cash under a fake name when the door slammed open with a sound like Judgment Day wearing tap shoes. In staggered a guy we hadn't seen in years, Nico the Nutmeg Ferraro. He used to be an enforcer for the D'Agostino family before he got whacked. Or so we thought. Turns out the only thing that got whacked was his fashion sense. He was limping, blood pouring out of a wound somewhere beneath a meat-stained trench coat, and in his hand, a napkin. A goddamn pizza parlor napkin soaked in red. Not just blood, but marinara. It was hard to tell which was which. He stumbled toward our booth like a haunted prosciutto ghost, eyes wide, mouth bubbling with curses and meat. They found it, he rasped, and collapsed face first into Vinny's breakfast lasagna. Hey, Vinny yelled. That was imported bechamel, you inconsiderate corpse! I flipped Nico over. His face was pale but determined. He shoved the greasy napkin into my hand and pointed at it with trembling fingers. Blood and sauce mixed into one unholy smear. Scrawled in shaky handwriting, like a chef's final confession, were 3 words. Meatball Protocol found. Below that, an ingredient list. 8 lines. One of them said sauce of memory. Another, veal from the unmarked crate. And the last line, do not trust Alfredo. I blinked. Alfredo who? Nico gurgled, then slumped back like someone hit his off button. Dead. Great, I muttered. Now we got a corpse, a coded recipe, and a marinara massacre on our hands. Vinny was poking Nico's body with a breadstick. I think he peed a little. That's disrespectful to the mozzarella. Sirens wailed outside. That's the thing about Flatbush. It doesn't wait politely while you dispose of a body. You've got about 3 minutes before someone tweets about the smell. I grabbed Vinny by the collar. Let's move. Now. We dragged Nico into the alley behind Sal's, dumped him gently in a pile of discarded eggplant skins, and said a few words over his marinara-soaked soul. May your meatballs be always tender, Vinny whispered. We bailed just as the cops rounded the block, slipping through the back door of Mama Floretta's Manicotti Museum, which is a lot less fun than it sounds. Once we were safe-ish, we pulled out the napkin again. It looked like the Zodiac Killer had taken a sauce-making class. What the hell does sauce of memory even mean? Vinny asked, squinting at the blood-red script. Sounds like something your nana would say before giving you a wooden spoon whoopin'. We stared at the napkin like it might start singing. Then Vinny said the words that always make me want to punch drywall. Let's go see Cousin Ricky. He used to work in meatball logistics. Cousin Ricky is what happens when you give a rat ADHD and an espresso addiction. He lives in a food truck behind a pawn shop and talks like a podcast with no pause button. 15 minutes later, we're squeezed inside his metallic monstrosity. Ricky's rolling risotto, sweating like pigs in a pasta sauna. Ricky looks at the napkin, then at us. You morons have no idea what this is, do you? I scowled. I know it's stained with Nico's final breath and possibly diced basil. He leaned in, whispering like a guy about to sell you black market truffles. That ain't no recipe, it's a map. You ever heard of the Veal Vault? Vinny blinked. I thought that was a myth, like low-sodium salami. Ricky grinned. It's real. Buried beneath an old spaghetti factory in Red Hook. Legend says the Dawn of Dawns, Giacomo Meat-Faced Manzetti, left his stash there. Money, secrets, blackmail folders, maybe even the sauce of power. I raised an eyebrow. You're saying this napkin is a treasure map written in marinara? He nodded. And the first ingredient? Sauce of memory? That's code. It's a place. Probably the San Gennaro retirement home. Old mobsters, older secrets. That's your first stop. We left Ricky with a frozen lasagna and a thank you punch to the shoulder. Back in the car, Vinny was chewing the edge of the napkin like it might taste like answers. We gotta talk about that last line, I said. Do not trust Alfredo. Vinny shuddered. Yeah, that guy gives me the creeps. He smells like expired cheese and betrayal. I started the engine. Red Hook first, then we find Alfredo. If he's connected to this, we shake him down until he gives up the meatballs. The car backfired. I took that as an omen. Chapter 3. The Don's Last Nerve. If you've never seen a 78-year-old mafia boss slowly sharpen a pizza cutter while glaring at you like you're a talking pineapple pizza, you've never truly felt fear. We were sitting across from Don Rigatoni. Real name. Gino Giovanni Rigatoni. No relation to the pasta. But if you bring that up, he'll make you eat a whole box of uncooked penny while tied to a radiator. Yeah. His office smelled like aged leather, fine cigars, and stress. Heavy velvet curtains, gold-plated espresso machine, a portrait of his dearly departed wife, Gina, giving us the stink eye from the wall like she knew we'd screwed up again. And in the middle of it all, the Don, sharpening his favorite weaponized pizza cutter and breathing in that slow, menacing way that makes you wish you'd stayed in bed. "You two," he said, the words like rusted razors dipped in Chianti, "have tested my patience for the last time. Now listen, I've known Don Rigatoni since the days when his mustache looked like it needed its own mortgage. I've seen him choke a man with a breadstick. I've seen him put a hit out on someone for saying spaghetti with a soft G. But today he looked like a man hanging onto his last nerve with a pinky finger and a prayer. And we were the reason why. You blew up Dolce Vita," he growled, staring right at Vinny. "You turned my Sunday sanctuary into a pile of frosting rubble. My therapist says I now twitch every time I hear the word ricotta." Vinny shifted in his chair, a little too smug for someone who'd set off an accidental pastry-based IED. Technically, the lasagna saved Nico's life for about 12 seconds. Don Rigatoni's eye twitched. I stepped in. "Don, sir, with all due respect, and I mean that in the most groveling, meatball-kissing way, we didn't mean to blow up your favorite bakery. That grenade was Russian, probably defective. Blame Putin." The Don raised an eyebrow. "I will blame Putin, but I'll also blame you. Now listen up, you sauce-sucking halfwits, because I'm about to give you your final assignment before I retire you both into a shallow grave behind that gluten-free bistro I hate." He slid a manila folder across the desk. Bold letters on the front. Operation Meatball Protocol. Vinny picked it up like it might explode, which, to be fair, was a valid fear considering our week so far. "Is this a recipe?" he asked. The Don glared so hard the air around him tensed up. "This," he hissed, "is the most guarded secret in the history of our organization. A recipe so powerful, so valuable, it makes Bitcoin look like Chuck E. Cheese tokens." He leaned forward, voice dropping to that cinematic whisper mob bosses do right before someone dies or gets promoted. The Meatball Protocol was created in 1947 by Giuseppe the Whisk Manzetti. A man so feared, his sauce once ended a gang war and got a bishop excommunicated. It's more than just meat and spice. It's a map, a key, and possibly a curse. Vinny opened the folder. Inside were photos of stained napkins, maps of Red Hook, and one blurry surveillance photo of a man holding a fork like a weapon. "Wait," Vinny said. "This connects to Nico, right? He came into Sal's and died on my lasagna." The Don nodded. "He was close. Too close. Which means someone's watching. Someone who wants the protocol for themselves." I frowned. "Who?" The Don exhaled like the answer tasted bitter. "A group so vile, so unnatural. They call themselves the Vega Nostra." Vinny gasped. I blinked. "The vegan? What now?" "They were once part of our world," the Don said. "But they turned. Gave up meat. Swore off cheese. Said marinara was too inflammatory. Now they want to wipe out every trace of our traditions. Burn the old recipes. Tear down the meat vaults. Replace sausage with tempeh." Vinny shivered. "Monsters!" The Don pointed a trembling finger at us. "You're gonna stop them. You're gonna find the missing ingredients. Decode the protocol. And if you screw this up..." He opened a drawer and pulled out a shrink-wrapped zucchini. "This is what'll be left of you." I stood up, trying not to visibly sweat through my track jacket. "Don, we won't fail. We'll find the protocol. We'll stop the vegan freaks, and we'll bring back the glory days of meat." Vinny nodded. "And cannoli! No cannoli," the Don snapped. "Not after what you did." Vinny looked like someone canceled Christmas. We took the folder, got in my car, and sat there in silence for a full minute. Then Vinny said, "You think this is the part where we heroically rise to the occasion?" I looked at the crumpled folder in my lap, full of grease, blood, and scribbles in broken Italian. "I think this is the part where we find ourselves ankle-deep in marinara and shot at by tofu-wielding lunatics." Vinny cracked his knuckles. "Let's make meatballs." The engine coughed. "The GPS told us to turn left in Italian, and we were off."